Welcome to another episode of the Momentous podcast, and today I'm really excited to be joined by Pro Air CEO and entrepreneur, Mr. George Munengwa. Welcome to the Momentous podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's really a pleasure to have you. And yes, one of the reasons why I asked you to come on, I have termed this particular podcast From Glenora to Greatness, because I felt that really is something I wanted to talk about, your journey as an entrepreneur. And I think you're one of the most sought after entrepreneurs right now, inspirational people, doing a lot of work with young people. One of the reasons I really thought it was important to have you on the Momentous podcast is not because you're only a successful entrepreneur who's built a brand that's really recognized across Zimbabwe, Pro Air, but the fact that you are a family man, minister, entrepreneur, mentor, and this is really rare to find in our Zimbabwean men today. So I wanted to bring you on board to really be able to speak through your journey, get a bit more understanding of, who is George? Who is this Superman,
Wow.
so to speak? Yeah, so I've termed From Glenora to Greatness for a reason. So maybe you can start me through from your early days in Glenora.
Wow. Thank you for inviting me. I think it's a pleasure to be on this amazing podcast. And why I said yes to come, because I've seen your deep zeal and you want to empower so many people. Not only the girl child, you also want to empower just anybody who's out there who wants to learn, especially from entrepreneurs. Because one thing about success is that from every podcast that you've done, you'll find there are always nuggets of success.
Absolutely.
So this is why I came through.
Thank
And
you.
I mean, I've also followed you. You're an inspiration yourself.
Thank you.
You're very much there to empower young girls
Yes.
out there, and it's important to also just let people know that it's not a male-dominated industry, especially the one you're in. All things are possible to
Absolutely.
he or she who believes.
Yes.
Right, George was born and raised in Glenora. He is the last born of a family of four. My father, Nicodemus, and my mom, who's late, Teresa Munengwa, sacrificed a lot by taking us to a private school when everybody else in the community, one or two, went to private schools. But all four of us went to a private school. And one of the reasons my dad did that, it was for exposure. He said, the best thing I can ever leave you with is exposure. I could take you to a school nearby, but back then he really invested in making sure that all of us were exposed to the real world, which when you look many years later to where I am today, a lot has been shown to me because of those sacrifices. So I grew up in Glenora, not from a very rich family. Stayed in the ghetto. I used to sleep in the lounge. When I used to tell my schoolmates I stay in Glenora, they used to think I stay in Glenlord.
Wow.
I would go.
Just put the L to the.
Yeah, they'll put an L, but
Yes.
I would go for sleepovers at my friend's house and get so much great exposure.
Wow.
But unfortunately, I couldn't return the favor
Yes.
because
Yes.
this was where I would sleep.
Yes.
And to
Wow.
explain that to people,
Yeah.
they wouldn't understand that. So that's my basic upbringing from Glenora. I enjoyed soccer at a very young age, and that was one of my dreams to actually play soccer. But God has His own unique ways.
Absolutely.
I ended
Yes.
up now becoming an entrepreneur.
Wow. Wow.
I actually failed my O levels because of soccer.
Okay.
And ultimately so many things have
Yes.
happened that has now led me to being the person I am today.
Wow. Very, very humbling humble beginnings they call it. I love the whole storytelling, and it's so important for us to remember, our very much formation stages make us who we become. So resilience and all these things that you were taught as a young. So credit to your father, Mr. Munengwa. If he's listening, job well done.
Yeah.
So I know you did not follow his, I would say his dream for you, because he probably didn't want you to be an entrepreneur as an African parent. How has that, what inspired you to be an entrepreneur? I know you're saying you didn't do so well in your GCSEs, but what then inspired you? Because I see that now you've started Pro Air, which has become very successful. So what inspired you and how did it all begin?
So, kudos to my dad and mom. I remember in grade 6, I've told the story many times. I was somebody who wanted to ask for money a lot of times. And one thing my parents did was that, listen, we can always give you this, but we want to challenge you, especially during school holidays, to go and sell freezers. So in grade 6, I remember during the school holidays, it was summertime like now, my mom gave me $10. They escorted me kwa Gaza, kwa Airfields, Notinga, my freezers. And I had to stand and sell freezers. Back then the Zupco bus was operating, and when people came out of the bus, you would have your bucket of freezers. I wore my hat, and I got used to selling at a young age. I can tell you it wasn't easy, especially being called a snob in the neighborhood.
Yes.
There was a lot of pride in me, which died once I began to actually make money.
Wow.
So at a young age, for me, the empowerment I got from my parents killed pride.
Wow.
And there are many people who still have a lot of pride to be ashamed of what they do because they are afraid of people's opinions. So that was my very start of getting some money. And I became very independent. I diversified, started selling my freezers and my putti. And from a young age, I got used to money. After school, I then, wanted to follow my marketing career. Unfortunately, my parents couldn't take me to university. The only university that I officially graduated from is the University of Zimbabwean.
Wow.
And if people know Zimbabwean, that's just a community of people who sell phones, who hustle. And that's where I feel I graduated with my faculty of hustle. Because there people would hustle, you would know how to sell, you had to have the right connections, you had to operate with an ecosystem. If you didn't have something, you had to liaise with others to make sure you deliver the product. So my inspiration was from my parents who empowered me. They were never entrepreneurs. My dad worked in the city council for 35 years. My mom was a nursery school teacher.
Wow.
But for me, I grew up watching and seeing so many successful people. In the country, we've got the legendary PC, Philip Chiangwa.
Yes.
We've got, of course, Dr. Strive Masiwa. We've got Philip Mataranika. We've got Ken Sharp. We've got all these guys who have amazing stories of how they began the journey. We've got Nigel Chanakira. And some of these guys were from Highfield, which was just a stone throw across.
Absolutely.
So that inspiration to me was something that then provoked me to say, you know what, if these guys did it, surely I can too. And back then, hearing the stories of some of these people who made it, it also empowered me to say, George, as much as you may have failed in school and not gone to university, it doesn't mean that your life is going to fail. So that was my inspiration. And I then of course did my exams. I then passed later on. I then got some formal education and stuff. But at mostly the inspiration was from the stories of others.
Other people, yes.
This is why I love the fact that you're doing this podcast, because many people will also see they failed. Their parents have told them you will never make it. People have told them you will never amount to anything. But from this, which is why the word of God says, faith comes by hearing.
By hearing,
when you hear other people's success, you too will be provoked.
You'll be provoked,
and
absolutely.
you will begin to think of doing something that
absolutely. And if you're watching, I'm speaking to the amazing George. We'll be talking more about the amazing G's, but George Munengwa, from really humble beginnings to building a powerhouse brand, Pro Air, which is across Zimbabwe. And we'll be talking more about the brand itself, but it's really interesting and really inspiring to see where you started. And which brings me to the question, would you say, and I know you're saying you started handling money at a young age from selling frizzits, being in these spaces where you were doing trades. would you say that, for someone to be a successful entrepreneur, would you say they need to go through the formal, of studying business? Do you think that makes a difference? I mean, clearly by example, but what are your thoughts on that? I'm interested to know.
I would love to say that, unfortunately, with our educational system, that hasn't changed much over the decades. It's very difficult to empower Africans per se by encouraging entrepreneurship, because for a good 18 years of their lives, they've been put in a room and told that in order for you to do something, you must lift your hand.
Yes.
You must get an A for you to be deemed to be somebody in life. You must follow the rules. And unfortunately, that's not how life is after school. So the mindset that the African educational system, which unfortunately was made by the Europeans to create workers for their enterprises, has not changed. So I'm not one person who believes in people being educated in something in order for them to start. Because if you're to tell me, and many people who begin entrepreneurship, they learned on the go.
Absolutely.
They never studied something before they started. That's the long way around. Because to those who discovered, invented, ran successful companies, theirs was, let me start.
Absolutely.
I remember at school we were deemed the NHS, the class that I was in. There were teachers and people who would call us the No Hope Squad.
Wow.
Because they thought these guys are not academically gifted, so they're not going to make it in life. But if you look at those people who were in that class, and if you look at them today, compared to the guys who used to have breakfast with the headmaster, who used to get 10 A's, 15 points, who were absolutely academically on point, their lives are different because these ones follow the rules. They cannot get outside the box. But they're the others who don't live according to the rules, right? There are others who do what everybody else is not doing.
Absolutely.
And they end up getting different results. So I'm not one who deems education
the
only way. I'm not saying education is not important.
Absolutely, yes.
It plays a very important role. I have actually furthered my education in business, corporate governance, and so many things. And I'm still learning.
Yes.
But education does not equal success. As Africans, we suffer because we were told that knowledge is power. This is why we are the most degreed, doctorated, mastered people on the continent.
Yes.
There's no other continent with far more people with degrees. But most of the people are at home because theirs is, I've passed.
Got the piece of paper.
I've pleased my parents. I was told if I pass,
Then
that's
my
success.
life, absolutely.
But unfortunately, they are very educated, broke individuals because they believe that knowledge is power, which is the greatest lie. What is actually power is application of
absolutely,
knowledge.
absolutely.
That's what causes you to be successful.
Absolutely.
So we've learned, we've crammed, we've gotten A's,
Absolutely.
but what we learned, unfortunately, we didn't apply.
Absolutely.
And most importantly, some of the things we learned were not necessary.
They're not.
I could ask you, it's for educational purposes. But I remember back in the day we used to learn about a grasshopper, cumulonimbus clouds,
Pythagoras theorem,
all these
and all
things.
these amazing.
It's great, yes, to know basic knowledge.
Yes.
But especially in a modern day where we're living now, it's more important to teach specific kids on AI, how to code, what's currently happening. Because back in our days, we had to go to a library to open an encyclopedia,
Absolutely.
a student companion to research on information. But now there's so much tech.
Readily available.
It's there on your phone, it's there wherever.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, our educational system hasn't
Absolutely.
changed. So Africa will remain poor
As much
because most of the people are not utilizing. But if you see European first world countries, they are specific at a young age by getting people to understand that there's entrepreneurship.
Yes.
You can't keep training people to become great at tertiary education.
Yes.
You need to identify them young, put them on their direction, and support them in what they're doing.
Wow, 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 wow. And Mark, that is a minefield. So many things you're bringing in there, so many important, conversations in one, where you're talking about how we've been conditioned to almost do things in a certain way equals success, but actually that actually creates a lot of barriers and doesn't allow us to really, explore or really push for greatness or bigger things really, or more creative. So my question then I want to ask before we go into the next segment is, I've seen you doing a lot of work with young people, which I totally admire. And I think it's very important, especially at such a time where there is AI coming in, where you've talked about some of these things, where the young average person needs to have an understanding of basics, which is, how to use a computer, etc. Where do you see us as Africa? What is the solution? That is the question I'm going to ask you. What is the solution to some of these things that are happening? I know you're already doing the work in the schools, but what is the solution?
So the solution is found in a biblical verse which says, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge."
Okay.
And Africans have perished because they were told that you must pass in order for you to be successful. And you must learn specifically this. And unfortunately, for many decades, we have not changed what is called our curriculum. So we've made the same type of people
Mistakes, yeah.
over the past 5-6 decades, and we are not getting anything different. And this is why I started the GB mentorship, the schools outreach programs, specific master classes, to try and transform people by the renewing of their mind.
Absolutely.
To say that, listen, I know you may have gone to university and studied this, but you must find a solution, a product or a service that you can give instead of just relying on a job.
Right.
Because a job is what the world was told, that this is what you must do. And I'm one person who's not against people who go to work, because I used to work once upon a time for 6 years of my life. But I saw that on the other side of just having a job, there's what's called entrepreneurship. But entrepreneurship is far more rewarding than a job.
Absolutely.
But it needs somebody who's got the guts, the resilience, the discipline, the hard work ethic. It's a very hectic place to be.
Absolutely.
It's a very lonely place. But others don't like it because it comes with a lot of sacrifices.
Yes.
Rather than getting your salary and living a life just over broke, which is what a job is.
Yes.
And there are a lot of people watching who have a job. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yes.
But my message to people is that if your job were to end right now, how long will you be able to live? Do you have something that you can start? Or are you waiting until it's too late? When AI comes, when you come of age, when you're sacked from your post politically, or whatever it is that's happening, what will happen realistically in the life that you are used to getting all these benefits from the company you work from? How will you survive? How will you maintain your standard, way of living? So my message to people is that it must start young. This is why I've gone and invested time in grade 7s, and we work our way up to really get people to hear the stories of many people. Remember, I said faith comes by hearing.
Absolutely.
I've done it with my kids, the amazing G's. I've really at a young age tried to tell them how they should do certain things. And I've seen them excelling in their sporting capacities, in their schools, because they've transformed their mind to say, but listen, my dad told me that I can do anything. And they've tried it with certain sports that were deemed were not for specific people. And they've excelled.
In it.
And this is the thing. Most people will never know because they never try.
Absolutely.
So they love the 4-letter word which starts with an F, which is called fear. And they're afraid. And this is what's going to hold them back from their pure capacity. So fear has held back so many people. And as Africans, we think entrepreneurship is for other race people. But right now, with the hub that's there, we need to be able to create something African, begin to empower ourselves, begin to also have an ecosystem, and remove all these boundaries and borders, and just become one big continent which trades amongst itself and becomes a huge powerhouse, which the world doesn't want us to realize that. This is why, you know, we're segmented, we have borders, but in other big places, you know, the numbers are there, so business will be good. So mine is, let's start them young. Let's begin to make these kids at a young age believe in themselves. Because the days of our parents, they worked 20, 30 years. That's what was there. But now things have changed. So there's entrepreneurship, there's empowerment, there's so many ways to make money.
Wow.
And that's what we need to do.
Truly inspiring, and I love the conversation. You know, I'll just ask you one more question before we go into, because I think there's more that you said in there, and it's just, you know, triggering me there. Would you say that entrepreneurship is something, I mean, as an employer myself, as an entrepreneur by right myself, having employed individuals, I've often asked myself the question, should we really be teaching entrepreneurship to each and every one person? It's a question for you. Do you think that entrepreneurship should actually be part of a curriculum? Because, you know, we have students, or we have children who are being taught everything else apart from being able to make money make sense for whatever organization they're going to work at. So, you know, which leads me to the next question. Should everyone be an entrepreneur, or there's some who are called to entrepreneurship and some are not? So just answer any of those first, and then we'll move on to the next
For
segment.
me, I believe that nobody was born an entrepreneur. Nobody was born a leader. Nobody was born anything, right? But what happens with life, according to the journey you move into, and according to what provokes you, inspires you, you become what attracts you. This is why there are people who become doctors. They were not born doctors. They liked a doctor, they studied the field, and they became doctors. So it's the same with entrepreneur. You must have a passion for something so much that you want to provide a solution for it. And remember, it's not for everybody. This is why even in the Word of God it says, the poor you will always have, right? You're going to have people who are uninspired, who are comfortable with their job. That's okay. But still remember this, as long as people live, they're going to need products and services. And to he who provides a product or a service, he will make more than somebody who is just consuming and doesn't have anything. So I believe entrepreneurship is something that, yes, it should be taught to all. When you and me go to church, there are certain things you will catch that I won't. Because it depends with who you are and what you want to be. So there are others who, like I've rightfully said, they don't see entrepreneurship because they don't like those things I spoke about. The sacrificing, they're not spoiling yourself. They like to spend their money haphazardly. But entrepreneurship is like planting a seed and watering it. It's going to take 4, 5, 10 years. But when that tree becomes something, the fruit of that is better than you who does not have a tree. I can sit under the shade of this tree called Pro Air that I have planted many years in 2012. But for somebody who doesn't, unfortunately, they'll have to live hand to mouth. So in life, you get to choose your heart. Many people want to live the easy life now, but 10 years from now, when their job is terminated because of age, because of an illness, because of change of policy, because of change of something, they're going to be job hunting. And unfortunately, there are younger, cheaper, more vibrant people. An app that's come that now does not need an accountant or a marketer. And we've seen that. Now you can just post a picture and it will create everything for you. So imagine all those guys who studied how to make a flyer and stuff. But now you've got somebody who created an app who can do that.
Absolutely. And I'm going to stop you there because I can see you're absolutely loaded, fully loaded, and I love the conversation. And I'm speaking to George Munengwa, and he's come on the Momentous podcast, and we're speaking everything entrepreneurship, his journey, and really talking some really big insights into the young generation and a lot of mindset shifting that is required for us here in the continent. Catch us on the next episode. And we are on the second segment of the Momentous podcast, and I'm speaking to CEO and founder of Pro-Air, Mr. George Munengwa. Yes, interesting conversation was coming in just before we took a break on entrepreneurship and whether individuals or people are born entrepreneurs. And I guess that's the question I want you to answer. Is someone born an entrepreneur? Are entrepreneurs made? Do circumstances in life make entrepreneurs, or do people land into entrepreneurship? What are your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts are this, and life happens to all of us, but life makes you become the person that you want to be. So I think one of the greatest things that I salute my father, Nicodemus, and Teresa Munengwa, is they took me to a place where I was exposed. And the most dangerous person on planet Earth is somebody who is exposed. And when you see something that other people have not seen, you're different mentally compared to them. So in life, there are others who were exposed to entrepreneurs, others who were exposed. We all know the rich dad, poor dad story. We all are exposed to different, but it doesn't matter if you were raised by a poor dad and then you meet your friend's rich dad who inspires you and who encourages you to read books and start a business and provide a product or a service and make money, which is something that probably your father didn't, which is what I got. Because my friends who I used to go for sleepovers at their houses, remember I was Glenora, they couldn't come. So I would always go
to them,
to some of my rich friends' houses. And I was very inquisitive. And I asked, how did you start? And they had a similar story. They also grew up in the high-density suburb. You know, one of my greatest role models and inspirations from a young age was Constance Marimo. She's still an amazing businesswoman. You should invite her on the show because she is seasoned. She's been in the business 30 plus years and she still is running a successful business. She's from Chitungwiza, and you know, she's one of the people that I looked up to and I was like, wow, a woman on top of that, running an amazing enterprise now. And that created something in me because the first Mercedes-Benz I ever saw was hers. She let me drive that Mercedes-Benz for the very first time. And that inspired me. That got me. She's one of the people who privileged me at a young age to work for her. And one of the things she did was I used my best friend, Chinotenda Marimo. I would go over the holidays to stay at their house, and then the mom during the holiday was like, hey, if you want to work, because I was inquisitive, you can go and work at the shop and I'll give you X amount. So she let me go work, at Wale's and all of this, and I used to have the keys to the shop, so I'd go there early, open, or do stock take, and all those things, some totally have made me the person that I am. So entrepreneurship is not something you are born with, but it's what you are attracted to that you become. There are many people who follow, certain people for their own interest, but it's because there's something in that person you like. And I'm one person who's followed a lot of entrepreneurs because I like the problem they solved. I like what they did by creating a solution to a problem. So no, people are not born entrepreneurs. You become what you are attracted to.
What you're attracted to. Absolutely.
Unfortunately for most Africans, because our parents worked for 30, 40 years on what was called employment back then, which was quite rewarding. They took us to schools with that money. But times have changed.
Absolutely.
So now there has to be a paradigm shift. There has to be a change of mindset. Because now entrepreneurship and startups are the new thing. If you start something now, you'll probably earn more than your parents did in 10 years in their lifetime. Because of how life has changed.
Absolutely amazing. And thank you for answering that question. So you're saying, entrepreneurs become it from, what they feed themselves, what they choose to be exposed to. And in some ways, it's not even about choosing. You kind of land into a situation. Okay, interesting. And I guess that's going to bring me to my next question. You talked about working as a young person, and I've had a share of experience having operated abroad for many, many years, 20 plus years, and coming back to Zimbabwe and looking at the young people, where I see that work experience is not something that is promoted as much as it is in the first world. How would you say working as a young person at that time? I know you were doing it to get a bit of, remuneration, you were getting your pocket money, but what did that do for you in terms of building your personality, building your skills, and what would you say, in regards to work experience for young people?
Okay, so to young people out there, I would say that success is not an overnight thing. There's no microwave solution to success. When you plant a tree today, it doesn't bear fruit tomorrow. If it does, it should scare you. And unfortunately, due to social media influences, due to all these Ponzi schemes, people have this ideology that no, I don't have to work for 5-10 years for me to become successful. Because when people see you driving your car today, they think it happened overnight, but they don't know that once upon a time, George used to go and work and open a shop and do stock take. He used to sell paint. He used to be the PR person at a motor vehicle shop. People don't see the sacrifices, the hard work, the many downtimes, the many times you've been sacked of work. They only see George, billionaire, today, he is this. But the young people out there need to understand that good things take time, but great things take even longer.
Absolutely.
So we are in this generation where we want it quick.
Microwave generation.
And unfortunately, that's not how life is. And when they miss that, unfortunately, reality will sink in very soon. Because they get money, the first thing they want to do is buy a nice car, buy the latest this. When the money is dwindling, that's when they come to their senses. Then that car they bought, they're now selling it for half the price because they were buying it to impress people.
Yes.
They weren't doing it for themselves. So because they don't want to learn, this is why Africans are perishing.
Wow.
We are perishing because when we get anything, all we do is we consume. We've seen it with people who you see them at the clubs.
Yes.
They win a tender, they win a big deal, they win the lotto.
Yes.
What do? They're popping bottles, they're living the life. But unfortunately, a year down the line, that person is in a even far worse off situation. So we need to really get to the foundational roots of transforming people. And it's amazing how every other race has it correctly. It's unfortunate, it's just with us. And this is why my personal mandate to begin this mentorship and this giving back to the young generation, especially with what you're doing as well. It's to empower people mentally. Because true money is not what's given to you.
Yes.
It's what you're supposed to do in order for you to get a constant flow of money. And that's something that happens with time. And that's what we need to understand. That all great successful people have an amazing story. If we could take time not to ask about how they bought the car, we should be asking,
Understand the journey.
what's the first thing that you ever did?
Yes.
How many years did it take for you to get to this place?
Yes.
And when we do that, we will learn a whole lot more and be a totally transformed and dangerous generation in years to come.
Absolutely. An empowered person is very, very dangerous. An exposed person is very, very dangerous. Absolutely amazing. I love what you're bringing in, really talking about how we need to be moving our mindset towards really exposing our children, exposing the people around us or even ourselves. When you talk about exposure, are you talking about, and this is a question that somebody may be asking, I don't have money to be exposed to go to a private school, to go abroad, I'm not privileged enough. What other ways can people, expose themselves without, giving an arm and a leg.
Yeah. I love this quote, and I've said it many times. You don't know how poor you are until you go to a rich man's house.
Right.
Right? I'll say that again slowly so people realize what I'm saying. You don't know how poor you are. As much as you have thought you have achieved much, until you go to somebody who has far more than you.
Absolutely, yes.
And when you go to that person, you will come back home different. You wonder, but wait, we breathe the same air. We have the same 24 hours.
Absolutely.
What have they done? It has made them become successful. And what it does, it provokes you. It challenges you to say, wait a minute. I went and I saw that guy's bedroom. He has a pantry in his bedroom.
Wow.
He has a sitting room in his bedroom. Absolutely. But for you, when you go home, barely does your bed fit in the room. Your bedroom is actually the staff quarters bedroom. What that does, it provokes you. So when you get provoked through that exposure,
yes,
it challenges you. And this is what a lot of people don't know. I remember the very first time I drove a Mercedes-Benz, my friend's mom's car. I knew my dad's car, right? It was a Peugeot 504 back in the day.
Yes.
But when I sat in that one, I saw something.
How different.
I used to think that my dad's car
was BG.
Was everything. Until I saw it, I was like, wait a minute.
Yes.
This is different. And that exposure made me say, but wait a minute.
Right.
Yeah, my dad's car is not the best car. Our house is not the best house. But for me, I love the verse in the Bible, Matthew 7, verse 7. And this is the simple principle that leads to people becoming successful. It says, ask and you shall receive. Seek
you shall find.
And you shall find. Knock and the door shall be open unto you. And unfortunately, we do not do those three things.
Wow.
We just think,
wow.
But one thing about successful people, many who you've brought on the show, you never paid them a cent for them to come. They are just speaking the nuggets, the principles that they've applied.
Absolutely.
But remember, most people who are even watching this show today and who've watched many podcasts from across the world, they love to hear. We are lovers of hearing things. But unfortunately, a seed in your pocket does not germinate and grow.
Absolutely true, that is, yes.
This is very insightful, nice wisdom, nice knowledge.
Wow.
But a seed not put in the ground and water will never become anything.
Wow.
So this is where people have perished.
Wow.
Because they are not doing simple things. So back exposure is of paramount importance. People must. It does not matter that you grow in a poor family. A rich one must come out of you. It does not matter you never went to university. Because education does not always equal success.
Absolutely.
Because if we look at it, there's so many people today
who are
more doers than theoretical people.
Wow. Absolutely.
But they are recruiting the educated people to come and do what they never went to school for.
Amazing. So really coming in from George, and he's talking about, you're constantly blowing my mind with all these amazing nuggets, and I'm trying to say, which one am I going to really rein in on? So if you're having a seed and you hear all this information, but you don't put it to use, I guess that's what you're saying, then you're never going to be able to move to that next level. And when we're talking about exposure, we're not really talking about going to another country or going to a private school, but really stepping out of that comfort zone is really what George is saying here. When we're talking about exposure, do something different. If you're watching this, tomorrow, I just want you to do something different to what you're used to. Step out of that comfort zone, and you'll really be amazed at how your mind and your inner being will be provoked to wanting more. Stay connected for the next segment. Welcome to the third segment of the Momentous podcast, and I'm still speaking to the amazing George Billionaire Munengwa. That's his other name, Billionaire, and that brings me to talk about the GB mentorship program? Because I see you've been doing work with schools, the youth across Zimbabwe, really looking to impact and, tell me a bit more about the GB mentorship program. What is it about and what is its objective?
So the GB mentorship is something that I started in 2016, and the main core purpose of that was to give back what I've learned over the years through the various mentors who have mentored me and just made it accessible to people. Initially, I started with it for free. I would have seminars where people would be coming, and whenever I go to churches or universities, I speak totally to empower. Because one thing that God spoke to me, to my heart, to say is, George, as I lift you up, make sure that you empower many people in the country and around the world by telling your story, because it's going to minister to many who suffer from fear, excusatitis, which is a serious disease that people suffer from, constantly making excuses, and just self-belief. And that's what generated this move for me to begin this mentorship program. And it's something that has brought so much, satisfaction to me, because when I make somebody start or resign their job or do something they never thought they'd be able to, because they've been under my mentorship, or they did it because they heard my story, there's no better fulfillment for me.
Absolutely.
And there's so many people, hundreds, thousands of people, who sometimes I bump into them when I'm on a plane somewhere or in another country, not only locally. And to me, that's the greatest satisfaction. I do it with my kids in the car every day. We call it the school run diaries. That's a form of us also empowering people and hearing from my own kids and saying, listen, if it works for my kids, it can also work for you.
Wow.
So for me, it's a way of being a blessing, because God has blessed me.
Yes.
So the best way I can give, I wish I could give people money across the world, but unfortunately, once it's depleted, it will go.
Yes.
But one thing I can give somebody that's timeless, that will live long before me, long after me, is wisdom, is nuggets, are certain principles that I used that have made me become successful.
Absolutely amazing, and I love to hear it. It's almost, you're talking about ministry, and and I've read somewhere that you're also a minister of the word, and I think it's so important to live out as Christians, to be able to live out to what the word says. And that reminds me of a scripture that talks about the Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach the good news to the poor. So what you're doing is the poor in not only physically or monetary, but you're talking to people who need knowledge to be imparted to their mindset so they can change. Because you're talking about how poverty is attacking, us as a people. So my people perish because they're lacking in knowledge. So if we have this knowledge that you're going around preaching, then we can also be prosperous. It's really powerful, and it's an area that's really dear to my heart, because I believe that there is a lot of giants that are being raised through entrepreneurship, which is partly why I have come up with the podcast, because I believe that it will speak to so many people who may be listening, who just needs to hear your journey to get something inside of them ignited. So this is something that I'm really, really passionate about, and I'm really happy to hear. Sorry, we have to stop. I thought these guys were coming here, and I'm gonna, who's that? So I diverted in my eyesight, nice tower. So yeah, so it's really lovely to see. And you talk about, it's really lovely to see. So you talk about the amazing G's, the school run diaries, which I have been watching, following, and also started doing with my daughter. And I said, this is so amazing. Tell me, it's heartwarming to see a dad doing a school run, not only doing a school run for the African man, but then also imparting something in the children during that period. Tell me, what inspired you to start the School Run Diaries?
So my School Run Diaries story began way back. The couple of times my dad back then used to take me to school. And my dad is a dad, yes, but he's the coolest dad in the world. If you see me sitting and talking to my dad even today, my dad's 86 now, but there's nothing that's changed in our interactions. And all of it was birthed by the type of relationship we had growing up. So I know all Bob Marley songs because he would drive, we would sing along to them. He'd tell me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember all those conversations growing up. So now, unfortunately, it wasn't documented because back then there weren't any phones. But in my mind, school run, that 45 minutes with my dad, he'd give people lifts, to subsidize some money. The things he'll be talking about were life lessons, and I learned so much. So I decided to begin doing that, and I've been doing them ever since my twins who are now in Form 3, which means for the past 8-9 years we've been doing. We started with just the twins, and now I've got 5 kids in total.
Right, yes.
So now we've got 4 kids who are going to school, who now every day have to think and research on a word they want to share. So every morning is exciting because one is taking their word from a book, one is watching YouTube and getting a quote there, one is taking the Bible, and so it's become a culture which we have brought up. And those words, as much as they're edifying others, they're also edifying us. So we just decided to open up and say, you know what, let's inspire, let's change people. And so many people have seen those. I post those, you'll see people from Brazil commenting, saying, wow, we watch these every morning.
Nice.
When I don't post, there's some people who say, where are the school run diaries? Can you post? We're waiting. So it's become something that people look forward to. It's beginning your day with some affirmations, some encouraging words. And if we do that, so many people, like you're saying, have also started at a young age, because it's something that I have done, which has empowered my kids' confidence. They can speak well. They're not scared of the camera. And so many have done it as well. So those initially came from my dad. The confidence I have is what I saw my dad doing with people, how I saw my dad speak. So I've also imparted it to my kids. And similar to them as well, you'll find, because something, when it becomes a habit, you find they're also going to do that with their kids.
With their kids, it's generational now.
It started somewhere. So for me, school run is the best time. For me, I never, as long as I'm around and I'm in the country, I make sure I do it. And surprisingly, sometimes when I'm not, they record for themselves. And with their mom, they can do it. Or they send me and say, hi, Dad, we did it. This is what we said. We hope some word inspires you. So I think it's just about having a good bond and speaking life. With my family, we so much believe in what's called the Pygmalion effect. You need to speak forth what you want to see. So this is why we speak positively no matter what.
Absolutely.
We have affirmations that really encourage us and that keep us going.
Wow. Amazing to hear. And you're still running this Pro Air. You're still leading a lot of people. You're still impacting schools. And you're still successfully raising a family, the amazing G's. We love to hear them. Shout out to the amazing G's. So, how do you strike that work-life balance? That would be my next question, because this is superhuman stuff you're doing. But how do you, stay motivated, and how do you strike the work-life balance?
So for me, I think my greatest inspiration is the support structure I have at home. So we support each other so much. I think when I grew up, remember I told you I used to play soccer. My dad, as much as he could not be able to provide, due to work commitments, he could barely come and watch my games. But he would always wish me well in the morning. Hey, you've got a game today? Play well. He'd heard about me making provincial and say, is he really that good? So he rarely did see me physically play until later on in life. But the support structure I have at home, it's great, especially for a businessman, to have, number one, a very supportive wife. Because, behind every successful man,
give it up for the women.
Big shout out to Lisa.
Amazing. Shout out to Lisa.
And she's been a very supportive individual in what a lot of people deem my success. Because a lot of times things have been bad, things have been rocky. And sometimes you need that person who's going to encourage you,
Absolutely.
push you, drive you. And the wife I have is not an ordinary wife. She's a very demanding wife. She likes specific things. And to a man, having a type of person like that pushes you
Yes.
to work harder.
Want more, yes, yes.
It's good to have an understanding, not a demanding.
Yes.
An understanding settles but
Yes.
keeps pushing you. A demanding will make you do things that will lead you in the wrong way. So for me, I think being a father is not an accident. It's a choice. And the worst thing you'd want is to be a successful entrepreneur, but a father who's never present.
True.
I've seen so many of my friends who are not present, but they give their kids money.
Right, okay.
And I've been there and seen some events, and some of the fathers are not there because they are so-called busy. But at least it's okay for you to be there a couple of times. Watch their race. It's not about their son coming first or them playing a great game, but it's just about you shouting their name.
Yes.
It does something.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I've understood that it's so deliberate that I have done this because I also saw my father supporting me from the freeze it business. His words, he was not there, but his words
Yes.
encouraged me to become the person that I am. So I think it's important that as men out there, we need to be very deliberate. It's one thing to be having so many accolades,
Yes.
but not having
Present.
a good family support system.
Support system,
Because a
absolutely.
dad was never there on the dinner table. I remember there are times I had to make a decision. I'd be so busy sometime I rarely have dinner, but I had to make a conscious decision for specific days to be there, to speak,
Wow.
to find out how everybody is,
Yes.
and sit as a family. And that has really transformed
Wow.
and
Wow.
really keep my head up.
Absolutely,
And keep me
absolutely.
going.
A lot of wisdom coming in there for the men watching and even for us as women. And, it's really lovely to hear, because there's a lot of shade that's put on the black men, oftentimes, even the Zimbabwean men, where, it's thought that, they're not as supportive as we would like them to be. But this is a classic example of where we're seeing as Zimbabwean men balancing your work-life balance, being there for the family, and certainly giving a lot of wisdom to the men out there.
On the men part, I believe that there's no man who's bad, but unfortunately, it's a two-way thing. And I know there's so many women who are so pro women rights. We also want to share, but as women, take your place as a woman and as a wife and as a partner. Be there to support. There's nothing no other man out there wants other than affirmations. They want to be encouraged. They want to be complimented. They want to be respected.
Absolutely.
When you do these things, you will be treated like a king.
Yes.
It's not a 50-50 thing.
Yes.
It's not I will only respect you if you love me. Unfortunately, that's the primary battle of immature women who think, no, you must first love me in order for me
But
to
does the
respect
same
you.
Bible not say, does it not come as a condition in out of
So if you
sake?
see successful marriages, and if you look at couples which are happy, if you ask the women, they don't have that conversation. They say, this is the king of this empire we have. I will honor, I will respect this man. And because of that they do, no wonder why she lives as a queen. But there are others who want to think they are at par with the man. And that's where the challenge is. There can never be two cooks in a house. There can only be one person who speaks how things should be done. But a wise woman whispers. I was thinking, you said we should go that way. But I was thinking, just a suggestion, I'm not saying we should. I think we should go that way. And it's spoken of in a way which the king himself will say, but wait a minute.
That makes sense.
But then because we are under this empowerment, we are the same.
It's misconstrued.
We are not the same.
Yes,
that is something that all women should understand.
Absolutely.
There is a head and there is
Yes.
There's
a neck.
submissive one.
There's a neck. Yes.
And that's
yes,
it. And
yes.
the neck is actually the one that holds the
controlling,
head up.
yes, absolutely.
So you have so much more power. But don't try and dictate it.
Yes.
Stay here.
It's a story for another
Don't
day.
go there because
it's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
Very interesting, and I certainly would love to have another conversation around that. But interesting points, wisdom coming in from George, and he's really sharing in with his journey as an entrepreneur and how he has managed to balance, keep his head level, and we're hearing the support structures intact. And he's intentional about, spending time with his family, his children, and giving back to the community, which is really something we want to hear on the Momentous podcast. So I want to talk to you about, obviously you're talking about the glitzy and the lovely, experience or journey you've had as an entrepreneur. What would have been some of the biggest challenges you've had as an entrepreneur? Would you be willing to share some of that with us?
Yeah.
A time that you felt, oh my God, it's not what I thought. Because I think we as entrepreneurs, we kind of share the good side. But there are times that we, wallow through and we're really struggling. Do you remember any of those in your journey, and would you share it with us on how you overcame it?
Yeah. So I've had so many down times. And I think one of the greatest things that I deliberately did earlier on when I began to see that things were not adding up, things were not working. When you begin as an entrepreneur, remember you are the accountant, you are the marketer, you are the supervisor, you are the receptionist.
Absolutely, yes.
I had to change voices in the first days. Hi, George here. When I'm checking for a payment, my second name, hi, it's Kudzai here, just following up on payment. Later on, you try and do so many things until I got burnt out. I understood I had 24 hours, but I was trying to be so many people. I had to go and deliver the technicians. Then after that, I had to go for another site visit. Then somebody else wanted an aircon somewhere else. And I was getting home tired.
Absolutely, yes.
24 hours were not enough, but I was being burnt out. So thank God I found a group of mentors. I was introduced to what is called the EII. One of my mentors, Dr. Chandiwana, he introduced me to this group. It's called the Executive Interaction Initiative. And that has really played a lot of major role in making me become a sober, mature entrepreneur. Because back then at Mashonaland East Chapter, I was the youngest organizing secretary. And I was surrounded by CEOs who've been in business for 30 plus years in business. And there I applied my Matthew 7v7 principle. And I asked, I'm facing challenges, what should I do? I'm having a high staff turnover, what should I do? My sales are not adding up, what should I do? And they told me all their stories, how they got so much money, they bought an expensive car, and they failed. Don't do this, George, when it comes to your staff. Get key people. Your overheads should not become over than your profit. I learned a different way of doing business because my association was right.
Okay.
So the reason I failed is because I thought I was Superman. I thought I could do it all.
Wow.
And there are many people out there who think that, I can do this entrepreneurship thing bigger.
Right.
But you can't do it alone. You must be in an ecosystem of similar-minded people. People who are similarly in a journey like yourself, who are entrepreneurs. Because there's no way you can ask your brother, sister, uncle, auntie, sekuru, gogo, who's never done business, whether I should start a car rental company. Because they'll tell you, siana nazwe. Because I asked my dad when I wanted to resign, Dad, I'm thinking of resigning. I'm earning $300. It's not enough. 2-3 days later, my dad had a dream of me. George, ndarota wa kukaramba kwangu with tattered clothes. And you're going to be in serious poverty. So don't resign. Stay with that $300. But imagine that same dad who I love so much, who I've spoken so much of. Many years later, we were getting awards. We were seeing the president. We were awarded top leading air conditioning company. He was jokingly saying, George, you know what? That time when I said that, I think Mwewe Trina, there must have been a bad spirit that was trying to, but now look at your success.
Yes.
Now look at where we are.
Wow.
All this is because I deliberately associated with people who put in coal and wood into the fire I had. So some of my failures where I thought I could do it alone.
Absolutely. Yes.
But as an entrepreneur, you need others. You need the input of others. You need to be part of an ecosystem of people who will tell you when you are going off course in order to get you to become successful.
Absolutely.
Because all the awards I have are not me. All the business I have had, there are many people, some watching, some big businesses who have believed in what we started, who have supported us, who've gone on this journey. You know, and salute to everybody who has, you know, gotten an aircon from us, brought their car, referred somebody. That has played a major role in making this successful. So I believe my greatest downfall was lack of associating with the right people.
Network.
That's what led me to kind of sink. And thank God, through my mentor and the many others who then mentored me, it made me realize, you know, I need to prioritize this. I need to get the right people to complement me. And that mostly it has led us now to being where we are.
Amazing. I love it. So you're talking about networking and how that George is really saying, you know, how networking has really got him to where he is. The importance of mentorship. You know, you can't be a standalone band, you can't be an island. You know, you need people around you that think like you. And I think I wrote a book in the past, and one of the things that made me write it is I was sharing my dreams with the wrong people. And whilst they're dear people to me because they're family friends, but actually they never believed in what I was seeing. They were not seeing what I was seeing. So I later just decided to break out, you know, and just say, you know what, I'm going to do it. What's the worst that could happen? And here I am today. And I still testify to what you just said. I totally attest to it. So thank you for sharing that, George. And before we go in our next segment, keep watching. So we are back and on the last segment of the Momentous podcast, and I'm speaking to the amazing George Munengwa. So much wisdom coming in, so much business nuggets. If you're listening and you're an entrepreneur, you know what time it is. And we've had so much from his wealth of experience, from humble beginnings, growing up in Glenora, to the great way he's running one of the most successful companies, air conditioning companies here in Zimbabwe. It's such a pleasure to have him. So going in, George, as we come about to finish, I just really wanted to ask on what's your normal routine like, your daily routine? I know you do the amazing G's with the young kids, but what's your routine like? What sort of habits have you mastered over the years? Because I believe habits make you who you become. So what sort of habits, you know, would you share with us that have made you stay grounded and become the entrepreneur that you are today?
So I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and when I wake up, whilst I'm bathing, I'm always listening to things that provoke me, that are constantly inspiring me, whether it's an audio book or something. So whilst I'm bathing, for the first hour of my day, I'm very deliberate on what I feed into. And it's similar. That's probably where my kids get the word of the day. So when they wake up, they put on something and they begin to listen to things. Because when a human being wakes up, your frequency is high. And whatever you absorb in the first hours determine your day.
Absolutely, yes.
So a lot of people watch news when they get up, and that depresses their day. So I choose deliberately. Wake up with positivity. I take a bath. I take my kids to school. We do the school run diaries. Straight after, I'm on my way to the office, also listening to stuff. I get to the office at about 20 past, 7:30. I have a routine of reading 20 minutes a day. I get into the office, phone away, I read 20 minutes. It has to be a self-help book, something that, you know, gets me going. 8 o'clock, we start the day at Pro Air with prayer. 8 to 10 past 8, we dispatch everybody. So I'm a morning person. I love to work. Between 8 and 11:30 are my super productive hours. So that's when I call, I do site visits, I do this, that, and the other. From lunchtime, I'm either meeting a client, supervising a project. Day end, either I'm meeting people after work to network or connect with certain people. So I'm still very actively involved in sport. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays are my sporting days.
Okay.
So I love soccer still. I play, in the evening. There's a group of five-a-side team that I play with. So I actively keep myself physically going.
Active, yes, absolutely.
So if I don't run for 2 weeks, I can feel it. So I really prioritize. I can't do jogging like other people.
Yes.
But I love my physical sport.
And
yes. That hour, 2 hours of intense running keeps me going and it keeps me fit. So that's about my basic routine on a day-to-day.
At what point do you eat? You haven't spoken about your diet.
Yeah, so eating is something that, sometimes I'm one person who I rarely can have a meal by myself. If I'm to sit down with a client or a friend or a mentor over, food, it can happen. But rarely do I really schedule. Sometimes I'll be so preoccupied with work. So the meal definitely that I have, that's guaranteed, is my breakfast in the morning.
Morning breakfast. Okay.
My usual dinner is not as heavy. Okay. I don't believe in sleeping on a very full stomach.
Yes.
So I try and minimize my dinner too much. It's just a nibble here and there, just to keep me going.
Wow.
But
wow. Amazing. So we're hearing it from George. Balanced physical health is important, diet is important, exercise is important, and that's really helping to shape the man you are today and certainly inspire some entrepreneurs, because I think there's somewhere I've read where it said you don't eat unless you work. I think it's in the Bible somewhere. And every time I probably haven't had anything and it's gone lunchtime, because I'm preoccupied with what I'm doing for the day. So I'm definitely taking a nugget away, but I can see that our patterns are probably the same in the sense that you're not always wanting to eat. But it's something I'm taking away. I'm learning on the podcast, as well as interviewing and getting the audience to get to know more about you. So thank you for sharing that. So what is the future then for Pro Air? What legacy are you hoping? We've heard some of the legacies you already started, but what are you hoping? What is the vision for the future? Family, entrepreneurship mostly.
So for me, I think one of the things I want to be remembered for mainly is provoking, inspiring, and equipping people around the world. That's my core purpose and mandate. So the only reason why people listen to me is because God has raised me to be a successful business person. But for me, I want to transform people's minds, especially in how we were raised, so that they can actually achieve their full potential earlier because they're empowered mentally. So my personal legacy that I want to leave, I want people to say, wow, that guy really challenged me. He spoke the truth. It was painful. It really provoked. If I speak to somebody who's watching this and they're not provoked, I didn't do what I was supposed to
be doing.
And I want people to be challenged, to say, wait a minute, that guy from Glenora took a huge step of faith. He listened to some man of God who told him to resign. Then he started Pro Air. He was earning $300. And now look, this guy is on his way from Glenora, where he used to sleep on a couch. Now look at this guy, he's living. But all of this is in a 18-year, 20-year space. And all this is possible even to he or she who's watching. Say, no, it's not about your upbringing.
Absolutely.
You have to take ownership of your life. So mine is to let people know that there's no one coming to rescue you. You have to be the captain of your ship. You determine where you end up. It's not about blaming the government, politics, this party. It's too hot. I never went abroad. All these things are excuses. So my legacy is I want people to take ownership. I can't be an entrepreneur because entrepreneurs are born. We spoke about that.
We have. Absolutely.
So mine is to make people realize and fulfill their God-ordained mandate. I say this all the time, that people, when they die, they're going to go to heaven. And they're going to be shown on the screen
the life
that you could have become an internationally acknowledged speaker, speaking at so many international universities. George, but you settled to just stay in Glenora and just remain a local champion. And so many people will be like, I wish I could go back.
Wow.
But this is why I'm here, to say to people that it's possible, you can do it.
Yes.
And with Pro Air, we want to, of course, become the leading air conditioning manufacturer in years to come. I think we're doing pretty well in Zimbabwe. And we're on our journey to expand and grow.
Absolutely.
Because I can tell you climate change is upon us. It's getting hotter every year.
Absolutely.
It's getting colder every winter.
Absolutely.
So we are there to make the weather behave, not only in Zimbabwe, not only in Africa, but abroad.
Across
all the people
spectrums. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. And you spoke about, international trade, trade across Africa. And obviously, these are some of the things that we are hoping, to be seeing Pro Air doing in the future. And you've heard it from the CEO. It's really lovely to have you here. And I think we could have had another 1 hour to discuss because you're completely loaded. So much wisdom was coming in, so much knowledge, so much experience. And it's really a pleasure to have you on the Momentous podcast. And thank you so much for
Thank you so much for having me. And to everybody who's watching, make sure you watch all the episodes of this amazing podcast and what she's doing. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's really been amazing speaking to George Munengwa, CEO at Pro Air, talking to us through his entrepreneurial journey and how he has come from Glenora to greatness and the vision behind Pro Air and some of the amazing things he's doing with his family and really talking to the audience about the importance of balance, the importance of being grounded, the importance of having a solid network around you for that success that you so desire. So until next time, from the Momentous podcast, talking to real leaders and real entrepreneurs. See you next time.